What's up, ballers? Welcome to episode 67 of the AllDriveNoDrop podcast, joined by David. As always, David, how's it going tonight?
Going good. I was actually just watching your video on the Diadem, that tournament you did. So I was just
hmm
relaxing, having dinner, and then watching your gameplay. And then, yeah, it was a
What,
pretty relaxing day.
what'd you think about that video format? I mean, it's something I've been thinking about for a while, and just for, I guess, people that haven't seen it, I wanted to do this series of tournaments where the prize is paddles, so it's going to be like a cheaper tournament, a good value for people, and then whatever paddle company ends up sponsoring the tournament, I'll play with whatever paddle they want, and
Mm.
then they give me paddles and bags so that I can give out prizes. So for this one, I played with the Diadem Blue Core Edge hybrid 16 millimeter in the Monopoly colorway, and then they gave me 2 Blue Core Edges and 2 bags to give out as prizes. So it was a pretty, and this one was just court, whatever the court cost was. So I think they're maybe like $8 for 2 hours. So you're paying $8 for a chance to win a bag or a paddle, which you're not going to get a better
That's a
deal.
crazy deal.
Yeah, you're not going to get a better deal at a facility. So it's not hard to get people that want to play, right? But I mean, sometimes it's hard to get people that are willing to be on camera is the only problem.
Yeah, that's the tough
But
part.
I really enjoyed it, and I actually just ran another event this weekend with Selkirk Boomstick. That one, that was fun. I did a little different. The Diadem one, we switched partners for mixed, and
Mhm.
then this past one, we just did set mixed teams. Probably do men's next with whichever company. So if you're a company watching this and you want to sponsor it, go check out that video, see if it's interesting to you. Selkirk one will probably be in 2 weeks. Took me a long time to edit that video, but yeah, it was fun. It's fun. It's just, it takes a long time to edit tournament videos. Like when I edited our tournament video, there's just so much footage,
There's
and
a lot, yeah.
yeah. And it's like you have to, like, take out all the dead space and keep the score going, and it's just, there's so much stuff to do for tournament videos. So, but I'm glad
Yeah.
you were chilling and watching it. It's definitely
I was
one that,
surprised that your
yeah.
your editing, your video production quality, that's gotten better since you started for sure. But like adding your thoughts in and like cutting I guess where it was panning to you talking about the paddle like over the gameplay, like that was done
hmm
well, and then like the score and everything. Yeah, it
Thank
was a
you.
really entertaining video.
Did you like the player intros? That was the one I was like happiest I thought about. I really like the
Yeah, I thought
player intros.
it was like everyone was saying their city, and then like one person started, I think, advertising something or like talking about some other
Alani.
product.
She
Yeah,
was
yeah,
she
yeah.
was just joking. Yeah, I was trying to, like, I was giving the reference of, like, hey, think about, like, primetime football games where the player pops up, and then it's like I realized some of the people don't watch football, so they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, so now I actually have, so for this past weekend, I just cut the player intros and sent the video. I'm like, this is what the intro is like. Like, you say your name, and then you can say anything after. You can say your city, your university. You could say something funny, like powered by Alani. Alani, if you're out there and you want to sponsor, like, I'm definitely open. I do drink energy drinks. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. So I wish we would have had that player intro for ours, because it would have been funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said my university for both of them, but I need to come up with something else for the next one. I didn't have any time to think about something creative. Just went with the tried and true university. But yeah, I think that will be good. We actually had a senior pro play in this past one, so that was fun.
This is the Selkirk one, right?
Yeah, the Selkirk one, we had a
Okay.
senior pro, not in the Diadem one. Can't get the pro every time, like, don't have that many connections locally. I don't think there's that many pros around here, to be honest.
Mm.
We have 2 senior pros that play in the area, and obviously they're not here all the time because they're off playing the stuff, but I don't think there's any actually regular pro that's based in the Southeast Michigan area. I know there's some in Grand Rapids, but none in the Southeast Michigan area.
Okay.
But also, I don't know if it's good to have the pros in my tournaments, and make me look bad. But besides that, so go check that out. That's really, that's something I'm trying. I'm hopefully going to do it. This was way too much to take on. I did it back-to-back weekends, which was a terrible
Wow.
idea by me, but just with the timing working out, there's like 2 major tournaments coming here the next 2 weekends, and then the holidays, obviously I couldn't do it around then. So I kind of got squeezed into these 2 weeks where I had both the companies say yes, and I was like, well, I just wanted to make sure I got it done. But I'll never do back-to-back weekends because it was stressing me out. But it
Yeah.
went super smoothly too. So actually, I don't know. I'll ask him, I guess, if he wants me to advertise his software. But shout out to Mache, who has a good tournament software and also software for leagues. So if he wants me to advertise it and put the link in, I will. But I ran it with that, and it was super easy to run. So luckily, nothing went wrong with running the tournament. Like, it went smooth. Because I was worried about the timing and everything. They said, the facility I was working with, they're like, no, we have a strict 3 hours. Like, you're going to get kicked off. Like, you can't go over. Even though when I got to, we got done like maybe 5 minutes before the 3 hours was up, and like no one was waiting for the court, so it would have been okay. But you know, they're pressuring me, so I was always worried about the time. But it was awesome. So shout out to everyone that came to that. But yeah, that's it from there. Friday Fever 102. That's already out, right? I think you can order this. You can at least order it now.
Yeah, I
Miami
think you can
Vice right
order it.
here. David has the stealth, so you can either be incognito or you can be flashy. Whatever one you want to do. I really like this Miami Vice one. I think it looks really cool.
I think yours, the bottom, it's like grit now. It's no longer that paint that they used to have on like the other
You
one.
know, he did say that, but this one is paint. So this is
Okay.
very smooth. They were saying that they figured out a way to make this grit, whether it's, I don't know if they're printing on the carbon fiber, I don't know, but this one is smooth. So if you are worried about it being smooth down here, you probably want to get the stealth version.
Yeah, this one's got a better sweet spot. It's more grit. You can get more spin on this if you hit near
Yeah.
the bottom.
So from the from the Fever 101 to the 102, the differences, I think they did a little bit more perimeter weighting, and these are coming in at a higher swing weight. At least when I was using the 101 and reviewing it, those were coming in like 112 to 114,
Yeah, like
150, like very
116.
low
Yeah.
weight for elongated. This is more normal. Good, not going to have to put as much weight on this to make it playable. So in a 6.4 twist weight, pretty good stats. This is a Gen 3. And it's only $102. So, you know, just a high quality price Gen 3. Obviously, I haven't used it yet, but the 102 wide body was a good upgrade over the 101. So it is what it is. Well,
Are these UPA approved? I think
no,
because these aren't.
not,
Okay.
not, I don't know. I think the 102 wide body is now. Don't quote me on that, because I mean, we'll get to that in the news, but Friday might have picked up some pros, and so they will have some UPA approved paddles. I just
Okay.
don't know 100% which ones, because everything kind of happened really fast for them. I think right now, Rachel, I'm spoiling. Okay, well, David, you're making me spoil the segment.
I
All right.
didn't. I forgot.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll talk about it in a second. Hold on. It's not really a big deal, but and then other things, Speedup coming out with a paddle. It's been like a year for them, so Speedup Tide. I think they are going to have all three shapes. They're all going to be 14 millimeters. I know they'll have all three shapes. I have all three shapes. I just haven't hit with any of them. So they have their first ever hybrid shape. Their elongated shape no longer is a 6-inch handle. I believe it's a 5.5, but wrapped up to like a 5.75. So they got rid of that super skinny head, which is great because that was just, you know, it's too small of a sweet spot. Interested in trying these because they do have some interesting build. We'll get more of that. They didn't want me to talk about like what exactly is in it yet, but that's going to come soon, and that's not out
Kind
for
of looks
sale
like
yet.
the Vapor. It's like an elongated Vapor shape.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. You liked that hybrid that's more of a squared off, right? Like, I know that's not exactly squared off, but
Also, I think I got 2 of the elongated ones, 2 of the 14Ls.
yes,
So I don't have the
do
wide
have
body.
Okay, well, I mean, in my book, that's not a loss. So, and it's funny. I found out the owner actually went to high school with one of the guys I play a lot with. So he's
Play
like,
pickleball with?
yeah, he's like, because he's from Southeast Michigan, so he doesn't live here anymore. He's like, do you know this guy? I'm like, and usually, you know, when someone asks you, oh, do you know this person just because you're in the area? Like, usually you don't. But I'm like, oh yeah, like I play with him quite a bit. He's like, yeah, he plays the tournament scene. I'm like, oh yeah, I've played a couple tournaments with him, so it was just funny.
Wow.
But I guess the owner himself plays pro. So I was like, he's like, I'll come back sometimes. And he's telling me the people he plays with. I'm like, yeah, I think we play in different circles. So like he's talking about like the best players in the area. I'm like, yeah, it's not me. But shout out to the owner of Speedup, who's apparently is a baller. So we'll see how those play. They've been working on it's all foam paddle. That's really all I can say about it right now. Nice design. I do like the design. Looks nice.
Yeah, very clean.
So that's all on that. Just a little bit longer intro just because I had to, tell a story. But let's get into the first segment in the news presented by Centerline Athletics, which David has the long sleeve hoodie on right now. I've got the polo on right now, which is just came out. I think they only have they have 4 colors now. This color, man, why did I forget the name of it? Centerline blue, I think
one.
And they have black, they have white, and then they have the dark currant, which dark currant's probably my favorite color, but this could be a close second. So the hoodies, or not the hoodies, but the polo's been nice, zipper instead of a button. So I've been appreciating that. I didn't know I liked the zipper for the polo better, but it's comfortable. It's the same material as their t-shirts. So, you can wear it, business casual, wear it right to the court, really convenient. There, you go to Centerline Athletics, take 20% off your order with the code AllDriveNoDrop. But yeah, so in the news, we had a couple signings. We talked about the signings last time, or at least our speculation. Anna Lee ended up signing with Franklin. I feel like by the time they announced that one, that was like not even a rumor anymore. Like everyone just believed it.
Yeah.
She does have a paddle in the C45 series. That's going to be a 12.7 wide body. Pretty much looks like the exact same as the Anna Lee Waters Paddle Tech paddle. Do you imagine that will boost their sales for the C45, or that's kind of just like the first step before they launch their next series?
I do think it's still going to boost the sales. I think because the prime audience of people that would buy the C45 that watch pro scene stuff isn't people that really watch like reviewer content that's like really been pushing like foam paddles. So I think a lot of the market doesn't really care about foam versus polypropylene. So they're going to be like, what do the pros use? So I think it's still going to boost the sales.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about it like that, but that makes a lot of sense. So, and their wide body shape right now only had the 5-inch handle. So making the longer handle wide body is definitely going to get some other people too, probably, just because even it was really hard for me to use the wide bodies with how short of a handle they had. But I think first it's a huge signing, right? Like I don't know. It kind of seems like they might keep the Johnsons. I'm not sure if that's like maybe that someone put that rumor out there and it's not going to be true, but they're going to have a lot of star power, and I'm very interested to see their next paddle coming out. I think it's going to be a big year for Franklin. I mean, they already had their comeback in 2025. I think it's going to be a huge year for them. That's interesting. I mean, I think we'll probably get one of her paddles. You'd imagine that they're going to push them here, but I don't know how close they are to their next series. But I'm interested to try it just to, I do like that shape, like that Paddle Tech wide body shape and handle combo. I do like it. So maybe they'll convert me to a wide body for a little bit. I don't know.
Do you think Franklin's going to do any more? Do you think they'll make a new ball too to go along with like the pro signings and, the paddles that they do have right now?
I think they already did, right? They released the Franklin Pro Ball. Did you get to try that?
Oh, I think I actually do have that. I don't think I've ever used it just because everyone's still using X40s at the facilities.
Yeah, so I think this was like maybe like in March, because I was still playing at Lifetime when I had it. So this must have came out in maybe March or April. And the problem I had in Lifetime kind of got around this because they can force their ball, right? Is that people just don't want to use a different ball. But also, I like the ball. The ball was fine and it played faster. And Franklin probably does have the power to do it. But maybe their X40 has been around so long and it's so popular that they tried their other ball and they're like, you know what? People still like the X40s. They last a long time. Most of the rec players don't care if the ball is faster. They just want a ball that their main thing, especially people like all the people running leagues, all the people running all these big events, they just care that the ball is cheap and it lasts a long time. And it's, I think the X40 for the most part, unless it's really hot, it doesn't have many bouncing issues either. Oh, I think they just sell so many of those. It's not a big deal if they don't have the pro ball because, I don't think the PPA is going to be able to get rid of the Lifetime ball now when they have Lifetime kind of forced their hand and said, like, you're going to use our facilities, you're going to use our ball. And then the pros are like, well, why are we using Lifetime here, using Vulcan here? Doesn't make any sense. So I think it's not a game worth trying to play for them. But all that said, maybe they still do it anyway. I don't know.
I just don't think like makes sense to just, like really invest in like the ball market if like unless you want to sponsor what like the PPA or local events. Right now, local events is still dominated by X40, at least in my area. But then the pro scene, unless you can get into the pro scene, there's no point making a new ball. No one's going to use it.
Yeah, the local tournament scene here is either Franklin's or Lifetimes now. Like that's just what everyone's using, and I think the most the market can support for the mainstream is 2. I don't, once you start getting like 3, 4, 5, like there's just always going to be like 1 or 2 winners, right? There's not going to be 5 major ball brands. It's just not going to happen with the ball market. Okay, it's not like paddles where there can be different paddles. It's just everyone has to play with the same balls. So I think it's just is what it is. Like both Lifetime and Franklin's, the biggest thing is the durability, right? If you don't have a durable ball, then you can be overtaken. But both of them seem pretty durable to me. Like really good durability. So I don't know exactly how well the Lifetime holds up in the heat. That would be the only thing I don't know for sure, because it kind of started getting more mainstream towards the end of summer for me. So I don't have that experience, but I imagine it's holding up fine for the pro. I mean, well, I don't know. The pros switch the ball so much. So have you played with it in the heat a lot?
No, I've only played it indoors when like I have friends training for tournaments, but not regularly.
Okay. Yeah, so I can't comment on that, but I don't think the ball they'll be trying to do anything different. They might have like a pro ball, or if they want to improve on the pro ball they already have, but I don't see them going too hard after it. Next up, Luzz signed Chris Hayworth and Roscoe Bellamy. So Luzz they already had the UPA approved paddles, and now they signed 2 big singles pros. So I don't think they've had any success in doubles, but Chris Hayworth obviously he's won, I don't know what the number of PPA gold singles titles he's won, but he's definitely, he's top 10. He's won a few. He can contend for number 1. Like that's saying a lot when you have a player that can actually win gold and has won golds. That's not an easy player to get. So, and then Roscoe, he's still young. He can win a couple here or there, right? But that's pretty big signing for them. So they're serious. I'm sure they had to get out their checkbook for that one, right? Like probably wasn't cheap to get Chris Hayworth. He came from Babolat, right?
I think it was Babolat.
Yeah. So I don't know if Babolat's not gonna get anyone or if they're done. He was really like their only person that of note, I believe. So but that's a huge signing. He'll probably be, I think he was already using the Inferno. So we'll see. You excited about that one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty indifferent about pro signings, but I think it's a really good move for Luzz just because it kind of in a way legitimizes them, because they've had a good performance paddles. They just didn't really have anyone to really validate on the pro scene, like, hey, this pro is using our paddle and doing well. And I think them getting Chris Hayworth is a really good start for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like seeing new brands come into the pro game just because, that will help them sell more, whether it's, an investment that's going to return money, but for sure it's going to at least increase their presence a little bit. So, and then Wicca, what was that? That's a big Chinese brand, signed QD. I believe there's.
So that's confirmed now?
I believe it's confirmed because they had like pictures of him wearing shoes. So I don't know if they made an announcement, but that was strange because their Instagram, they must have just started and they had no posts, nothing, like 2 posts, and first post is like their shoes. I don't even think they posted a paddle yet. So, which makes sense though, because I think Instagram's banned in China, so they can't. It's not like they can even post. So it does make sense that they just started because they didn't have business here yet. So that'll be interesting. I mean, that's completely new. Obviously, it sounds like they're one of the biggest companies in China in the sportswear. So obviously, they have the contacts, right? They can get into these factories, get paddles that are already being made. Whether they come up with something new, I don't know, but I'm sure they can get something pretty quality out. I just don't know what that's going to be and when. So we'll stay tuned. Maybe he's making a move to come back to the U.S. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. But it looks like they're at least they're trying to make a move in the U.S. Otherwise, they wouldn't have created the Instagram account. I mean, I don't know. I guess Vietnam has Instagram has a presence in Vietnam, so maybe
Yeah, in China you can still access Instagram. You still have to go through a VPN, which is
Yeah.
what a lot of us had to do when we were
Okay.
visiting there.
Just not as popular though, right?
Yeah, it's not as popular.
And then last, there's a 50K fine for Paris Todd for that whole RPM. Well, I guess it wasn't RPM situation, but a clinic, tournament, teaching, whatever you want to call it. She got a $50,000 fine, which, I mean, it's hard to know how big that is when you don't know her salary, but 50,000 is still
That's
a
a
big,
lot of money.
it's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. If it was like football and they got a $50,000 fine, or basketball, I'd be like, oh, that's nothing. But pickleball, it seems like a little bit bigger a deal. Like, I don't think her contract's $1 million. Like, maybe it'd be like 400, 500K. I don't know. So it's still, say it's 500K, it's 10% of your salary. If you lost 10% of your salary, you'd be pretty upset,
Yeah.
right? Would you be mad, David?
Oh, I'd be pissed. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely big enough to send a warning to other players like, hey, even if you're very important to the tour, if you do something that we don't, or that's not in your contract, you're going to get a pretty big fine. And I don't think anyone wants to lose 50,000 because for whatever she made doing, what she was doing in Japan, I don't think it was 50,000. She probably made like
Definitely not.
5,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
I don't know. So not worth it for her. Whether that's fair, I don't know. It definitely sends a warning, right? It sends a warning like, you don't do this. You're gonna get it. So I think that PPA accomplished what they wanted to with the warning, and I don't, whether it's fair or not, I have no idea. It's hard to know when this is kind of like the first big fine. I don't remember what Daescu got fined, but I know he got suspended for 3 months for,
Yeah, it was way less than 50
yeah.
grand though. Yeah.
And obviously salaries weren't as much back then either. So it's, but he got banned 3 months for cheating. That's kind of, that's obviously not, we can't even really compare the situation. I guess she cheated on her contract. Whether she cheated somewhere else, I don't know. I don't know. But that's it. Any other signings that you heard about that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think those are the big ones. I think you
Yeah.
mentioned like the rumor about the
Friday.
Johnsons. Oh yeah,
Friday.
Friday. Okay, yeah.
Should have just said it earlier, otherwise I would have forgot. Friday, coming into UPA, don't know exactly which paddles they'll have approved yet because that's going to depend on what their pros want to play with. But I believe they signed Rachel Rohrbacher, which is their big signing. I don't know if she's top 5. She's definitely top 10, but definitely potential to be top 5. So that's a huge signing. I think that's cool. Not saying I called it on the podcast, but I did say, wouldn't it be cool if she signed with a mid-level to lower level, not like mid-size, low-size company? And she did. Friday's entering the game. She'll probably play with the 102 wide body. She already plays with the wide body, so I think she's going to play with the 102 wide body for now. So maybe that'll be UPA approved if it's not already. And then Kyle Kazuda, that pickleball guy, another, I guess I don't know if he's still, I guess he is a pro. He's still playing pro, but
Yeah,
definitely
he's
a
been
huge,
playing.
huge presence on YouTube. So yeah, like maybe like number 3, number 2 in pickleball on YouTube. I don't know. He's definitely top 5 probably in like total subscribers. So I think that's a cool signing that they did. And they actually do content already with the Friday guys, or he does. So natural fit there. I think that is a great signing for them to get someone that's a pro and a content creator, because I think that will, they'll have more return on their investment.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Like that was, I would say probably like the best signing out of all the ones we've heard of. He's may not be like one of the top pros out there, but because of that social media fan following he already has, and having that, because he has like instructional content, people are more willing to look up to like what paddle he's using and what he's teaching with compared to like what the top pro is using. So I think that's a very smart signing from Friday. Also, just a great culture fit all around.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even think about it before, but like you have those instructional videos, you catch the people early in the pipeline when they just start, and
Yeah.
that's the first paddle they see. Like, oh, he's playing with the Friday. Well, he said the Friday paddle is only 100 and it's a really good paddle. Well, why don't I get that instead of the $280 Yola? Because I'm
Yeah.
just getting into the game. It's just, that makes a ton of sense. So great signing on their part.
Yeah. Great signing.
And that I think is all of the signings we need to talk about. Next up, which I was going to actually do before this, but I forgot, we're going to just quickly talk about the paddle awards around the industry. So let me bring that up real quick. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about this because somebody man, I had his name somewhere, but now I completely forgot it. But he posted on Reddit a compilation of, I think like 4 or 5 different paddle awards.
I can see it.
Okay, so this is the compilation of the 2025 Pickleball Paddle Awards that someone put out on Reddit, and I will put his name in the description because I know I have it saved. I just don't know exactly where I have it saved. But I thought it was kind of cool that they just compiled it, and then you can see all the different categories. Obviously, some people had categories that were unique, so just not everyone's going to have the exact same name either for the category. But it looks like the breakout company was pretty much a tie between, Luzz and Enhance. And then we do have some RPM stands. Do any of those surprise you?
Best breakout RPM.
We have kind of split Luzz and Enhance too.
Yeah. RPM's kind of the one that, I don't know. I don't really agree with that one, to be honest.
I think that honestly, so when I was looking over this list, I think the RPM being the best breakout company is kind of crazy so I guess this is how I could think of it, why they put it. They gained so much traction so fast. Yes, I agree that they did. But if we're thinking about like best breakout company, like innovation, their paddle being unique.
If it's like specifically the paddle, I don't agree. But if you're talking about like social media following, then yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, so I guess like if they're coming from it that way, then yes, that is impressive how much traction they gain. If it's just based on the paddles, there's no way RPM's the breakout company of the year. They just, they have a better Yola Pro 4 for most people. I mean, it wasn't innovative. So that was interesting. Most improved company, that one was definitely, you had a ton of different answers. So I think that for me, that just said like a ton of companies did really well last year. Like,
I think all these answers are good, and I think they all make sense.
I think that one was probably the hardest one to pick, just because so many like did better than they did the previous year. Brand on decline. I was actually, I'm not shocked with this one. I mean, obviously, because we both picked it too, but Paddletech, I mean, how can we not say they're on decline when the only thing new they did was come out with a different shape? They didn't come out with anything new.
Yeah.
So no surprise there, I'm assuming.
With Engage, at least they did.
Yeah, they did new stuff.
I haven't tried them, but at least they're innovating a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Most innovative, I mean, not surprising to see carbon because of the foam. But any surprises on there? Honolulu J6CR, any surprises there?
I don't know if I would agree with J6CR if that's purely just on like diamond grit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's other grits or people in that space. We have the Infinigrit from Selkirk and then the Permagrit from Spartus. So I think I'm assuming it's just a diamond grit on J6CR because I don't know what else you would say is the most innovative part.
Yeah, I think you would just say the diamond grit. Yeah.
Yeah, but they are innovating. They are trying new things, but I don't think it's like really taken off in the market yet, which is why I personally want to consider them.
Yeah, I agree. Any other things pop out at you? Those were like the big categories, right? Those are probably like the bigger ones. But if any of the smaller categories pop out at you, I don't think anything else notable really stood out. Like most underrated, that's always going to be one that's, everyone's going to have a different answer for that. So I didn't think anything was crazy there. Best looking, almost a sweep for the season.
Yeah,
you're the only one
that
did
the wrong answer, apparently. Yeah.
Wrong. You get the wrong answer.
That's -1 for me.
I mean, that's obvious though for the Pickleball Apes charm. Like, I think you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it for looks. Like, it's just one of those that's so vibrant that you're not gonna. There's not really much in between. But I don't think anything else was really too surprising here on the rest of the list on the smaller categories.
Biggest flop, Ripples. Looks like they won that.
Yeah, biggest flop, a lot of Ripples.
Kyle's with me on the J4K. That's nice. No, I'm not alone.
Yeah, I don't see any surprises there. All paddles that I think we were not into. So, and then I think I don't know if we did it or I did it in like a solo video, but I did actually break it down by best control, best all court, and best power paddle by shape last year. I just felt like control kind of like lost meaning. So I didn't even think about control paddles this year because people
Kind of
don't
looks like
ask me
they
about
put
control.
NF and FC Plus in control. I don't know if I agree with that. It might be
Yeah,
just like a
I
really
don't.
broad area for
I
them,
think
so
they
they just kind
just
of lumped it
did.
there.
I think they combined them, but
Okay,
I
that makes
know
more sense
I
then.
see people say that the NFs are like all court or control, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm like
I would put them a step up.
they. That's how I feel, and I just don't know if they've hit them recently. I'm like that. It just yeah. So I really don't think that the NFs are in the like. I know what I've heard, and I'm not trying to add anyone. Is they said like over time as other paddles have come out, the NFs move down to all court, but I don't think that's true. First, I don't think the NFs are. I think the NFs are still power paddles. I think that they hit pretty hard. No, they don't hit as hard as the Locos and the Boomsticks, but they still hit pretty hard. Two, if you make everything all court, I mean, like, what's the point of having the categories? You're going to have 1,000 paddles in all court, and then you're only going to have like 6 in power, and then like 10 in control. It doesn't make any sense. The categories would be too broad. Like it loses its meaning if you have so many paddles in all court. I mean that's just how I feel. I would be interested to hear your thoughts and drop them in the comments if you have thoughts. But I think it makes more sense to have an equal distribution, or at least like a high. Like you don't need to be moving the goalpost too much. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it there. Like putting it like maybe 33% in like each category. All court, I think already had a lot of paddles in there, and I think even though like I'd say like this level of power has gotten higher since like the NFs and FC Plus paddles came out, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, like it's just like there weren't that many that really went into that power category. Like there are a few, but I would still keep the NFC Plus like up there. Just like I would just shift them down to the bottom. Like I wouldn't have kicked them off the list yet. But that again, that's like for us, just our personal view on.
Yeah, it's just personal preference. At the end of the day, whatever you categorize it, it doesn't really matter because it's like it is as powerful as it is powerful, right? Like it doesn't matter what you call it. So that's just how I'm personally just gonna keep it as a power paddle, but it's at the lower or end of the power range. So just a hill I'm willing to die on, David. Very important stuff here.
Okay, yeah, I'll get on the hill with you then.
We're defending that hill. Okay. Anything else on the paddle awards?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Moving on to paddles of the week that we have here, and that is sponsored by Bodhi Pickleball, making some of the best grips from tacky, dry, whatever your preference. They have other accessories. They have weighted tape, easily tearable now since they use like a silicone rubber mixture. They don't use tungsten anymore. But yeah, go check out Bodhi Pickleball at bodhipickleball.com and get yourself 15% off, I believe, for the code AllDriveNoDrop. Now, paddles. Let's talk about. So I played with the Selkirk Boomstick this past weekend, and I had a review on the and I haven't played with the Boomstick like that hard. Like I've brought it back out just to reference. Obviously, people ask about the Boomstick all the time, but they talk about it all the time, right? So they always want to reference the Boomstick. So I feel like I have to bring it back out all the time, which is fine. It's one of the most powerful paddles, if not the most powerful, depending on who you ask. So it's a good one to bring out as a measuring stick. I play with the elongated. Didn't put any weight on it. I think it plays really well just how it is with the weight, that the MOI weights. Did you ever put weight on yours, or did you like that just how it came?
I just left it as it is. I think
Okay.
it was just too much if you add any more on it.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one thing. The boomsticks, so I'm going to kind of talk about the boomstick compared to the Spartus P1 and the Honolulu J6. If you want even like more breakdown, I think I went in depth about that in my first impressions, the J6CR. But the boomsticks already come at like 8.4, 8.5. I've seen some at 8.6 stock, right? And that for some is just going to be way too heavy, right? You're not even going to be able to play the paddle stock. I think mine came at, this is at 8.4. Fine for me, like not an issue. Like the weight, swing weight, usually I can play up to, I don't know, like 128 probably. I'll be okay. But that's like not how most people want it, right? So it doesn't really matter what I like at the top end. It matters what most people can handle. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Boomstick is just they come really heavy and they come at higher swing weights for the elongated. I think like 121 would probably be about the average, maybe, but you're probably getting into 122, 123. So all that said, really, really love it, right? Like it wasn't as stiff as I remembered. So I don't know if this one like broke in a little bit, but it wasn't like, it's not like soft, but it wasn't like, it was probably like a little bit above average of like a soft to stiff scale, and really nice dwell. But the thing is, like, it shoots off so fast. Like this reminded me of like the Black Opal, like, right? They both shoot off the face really fast. But the problem I had with the Boomstick for like touch compared to the J6CR, which I thought was also really poppy, is that even just like holding it here on a slower shot, the ball popped off the face faster. And especially on like two-handed backhand dinks, I just could not like get that touch. Like I couldn't get the touch with the dinks. It just is always going too high. That, I mean, like obviously with more time, if I was honing it in, I'm sure it would be fine. But I think that was like the biggest difference I felt between this and the Honolulu J6CR is like I didn't have as much problem getting that touch. Is they both, for me the J6CR, the power is just below this Boomstick, but not too far away. And it had more pop on like punches, but like the slower it was, the harder it was, if I'm just trying to play something. So I think that was the biggest difference between those. Like I played some pretty competitive games with the J6CR, and obviously I played really competitive games with this in the tournament. And that was where like I noticed, I'm like, man, if I was in it, I'll bring in the Spartus P1 now. I was like, if I was playing with the Spartus P1, I'm pretty sure I would have won some of those closer games because there was some very close losses there. And I would have won with this just because this has such better touch and not as poppy on those slower shots. You can really soften the ball. Like that was the problem with the Boomstick and some with the J6CR. It's really hard to like deaden the ball a little bit if you're just trying to take something out of the air. It's a lot easier with the Spartus P1. And I don't know if it's because of the permagrit or it's just because it's the same construction, right? Like they all have the EPP with the EVA foam perimeter. Obviously the J6CR has like a different notch design, whatever. But this permagrit for some reason just lets you kind of deaden and control the ball more and dink easier. Those were just my thoughts of like when I was playing the tournament. I was thinking about the Spartus P1 and the Honolulu J6CR as I was playing, and like I was like, oh man, if I had, I wish I could, if I could switch right now, but obviously for the video series, I'm playing with the series now. Of course, when I'm hitting overheads, like give me this paddle, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like when I'm trying to dink, like give me this. Like I just could not hit a tui with it without it floating too high, or not this one, but the Boomstick. And then also like left some pop-ups just because I'm trying to backhand slice dink. Nope, it's popping up because it's too far. But obviously that can be learned. It's just harder, and that's what I really liked about the Spartus P1, which I feel like hasn't got enough attention, but it still has really good top end power. So that's just my thoughts. And then obviously the Spartus P1's a hybrid right now. So David, any thoughts on just what I just said in general? I know you haven't played the Honolulu J6CR, but I know you've played the Boomstick and the Spartus P1.
Yeah, I actually just did the P1 and the Draco and the Loco hybrid. I hit those three earlier this week. But yeah, like you mentioned, I think the P1 has a bit better touch than something like the Loco. Even though it does have that fiberglass on the surface, it does kind of just have a bit more of a muted impact. I think it starts to, like, the more I play it, the more hollow it sounds, but it's like not even close to the level of how hollow a Loco sounds. So I want to still put a bit more time on it to see like how much does the P1 really change over time. But power wise, like I think it's because it's not as poppy as a local or a boomstick. I see what you're saying about it being like it's easier to control, especially when you're trying to just like reduce the speed of the ball like as you get it on
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more controllable in that sense compared to some of the other ones. I don't know. I do want to compare it against the VSOL Pro and see how it is
Hmm.
against that. Yeah, I get definitely against like a Loco. It's easier to control.
Yeah. Did you have any thoughts on the P1 just in general? I know we haven't talked about it in a while, but have you been enjoying it? So it sounds like you've been taking it out to compare against other paddles.
Yeah, it's
What
a
have
it's a
what have you
good
been
paddle.
feeling?
It's still like the face is just like sticky, just like how gritty
Yeah.
it is. Grit, at least for me, has been holding up well, but I like the paddle. Do want to see it in the other shapes. I think I might like that better, but for now, I just have like a simple like 9 and 3 weight setup. I have to put 3 grams on each side, but so far, I think it's kind of just in that same realm as like the Logo Vsol Pro. Like it's a really similar like play profile to that. It's just like a little bit more muted, but overall like the power and the feel is still like close to those, just slightly different.
Hmm. Yeah. My grit too is it's still sticky. Like I feel where the sweet spot my ball marks are, and I feel the outside areas, and it feels pretty much the same. So I'm pretty impressed with the grit so far, and probably put like 20 hours on it. I mean, not crazy amount of hours, but you can tell the difference usually between a 20-hour paddle and a brand new one usually for the sweet spot. So yeah, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there on that as I was playing with those a lot lately, and just I think you can get a lot of clarity playing with it in these more intense, and I wouldn't say high pressure, because I mean like it's a tournament that I ran myself, and I wasn't like pressured like, oh, I got to perform, but like obviously I want to, I'm making a video, I need to play well, right? So I'm like
Yeah.
still need to focus. It just
Or else you'll get more dislikes. It's gonna be like your most disliked video 2026.
Hey, I didn't put that it's any level, so you can't say that I'm
Yeah.
lying about the level, because I
That's
don't
true.
didn't put a
That's the
level.
way to do it.
Yep, don't put the level. But yeah, it was good to just those like of course it's like I'm playing the tournament, like, but I can never stop thinking about comparing the paddles, right? I'm like, well, if I had this paddle and this paddle in this scenario, I'm like, but it's not really like realistic to be switching paddles in the middle of a tournament all the time. Not saying I haven't done it, because I have, but it's probably not the best. But yeah, next up we do have the Gherkin Draco, and I did ask them if this was a reference to Draco Malfoy, or if it was reference to maybe like a Draco firearm or something else, and they said, you know what, it's whatever type of Draco you want it to be. So you can make it a Draco anything. But this is that bad boy right there. This is coming out for pre-order January 26th. They're advertising it as a swing weight of 112 with a twist weight of, I don't know why I lost it now, 6.7. Okay, so I mean, obviously good stuff. That's all foam. They have it as a new self-sourced foam material called nanocellular polymer. They're the only brand using that material as far as they know. It's a floating piston core construction, so I don't have a picture of that yet, but I'm sure we'll get it. And $162 after discount, limited lifetime warranty, and they have a 30-day trial period. So they're really coming after the market with this one. I mean, that's all good stuff. The offer. Also, if you pre-order, you get a G-Spot trainer, which is a full foam trainer paddle. So you get that for free if you order the pre-order. Have you used the G-Spot squared
Yeah.
trainer?
I
Have you
hit
used that
that
yet?
compared to the other one. It's actually like way nicer feeling. Like it's so much it's actually a quality paddle compared to the other G-Spot trainer. It's actually better.
I like to put, if I go to like an open play, I like to just like throw it in the paddle rack just to see if anyone will put their paddle with mine. No one would do it. I know. I just wanted to see if, like I put it in there. Well, anyone, they're gonna look at the paddle and be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't play with this person."
Yeah.
It was just a test, so far as 0% joined the queue with the G Spot trainer. But David, you don't like hybrids usually, but you said this is your favorite hybrid shape.
Yep.
How have you been liking the Draco hybrid?
I like this one a lot. I think I definitely need to add weight to it because it did come in kind of light, but I would say it's actually a similar play profile to like the P1 and the Loco. I think it's just kind of that power paddle, very kind of similar feel to both of those, and it's just a bit lighter, so you can add a bit more weight. But I just like how the shape is better compared to the other two. Not much to say on it. I think it's similar to what's existing on the market in my opinion. It's just shape's a bit different and it's a bit lighter, so you can add a bit more weight to it.
Yeah, similar thoughts for me. Definitely, I didn't try it with weight yet, but I will definitely add weight next time I play with it because it was too light. But that's going to be good for some people because they want it to be that light. I didn't think that the stability was like off, but I did feel with how light it was, the sweet spot suffered just a little bit because of
Yeah,
how
my
light
first
it
play
was.
session was like that.
Yeah, it's just like if you make it such a low swing weight, at some point that is going to affect the sweet spot, and I think they went a little too low on the swing weight, but I'm fine with it because adding weight's no problem. And that power level, definitely a power paddle. I'd have to test it a little bit more to like place it, but I mean, with how light it is, it's below like the P1 and the Loco, right? It's definitely below that power level. But I think if you put weight on there, I think you could get it up to
Yeah.
their level. I don't see why not. So you have so much room to add weight that I don't see why you couldn't get it up to the power level. Did feel nice on the softer side. I don't know if it was softer than the P1, but it was definitely, like not too stiff. I think if you added weight, you probably. I'm gonna talk about the feel after I add weight because I feel like it was so light. I don't want to talk about the feel stock. I mean, I would say like the off center, like you could feel some vibration a little bit, which is normal. I think you get these lightweight paddles, like it's always gonna feel a little off on the sides, but overall, I did like it. The sweet spot felt, a little dwelly on there. I liked it. Very controllable too. So I can't wait to play more and play it with weight and see what happens. Good price and good deal. I think that's cool how they're giving like a premium trainer paddle. I don't know how popular trainer paddles are. Like I don't really see people using them, but I mean, if you could get a free one with your paddle, why not? And it's foam. Because the other ones aren't. I don't think anyone's made a foam trainer paddle
I
yet
think they've
that I
all
know of.
been like Gen 1s. So that's why
Yeah,
I
just
thought like,
Gen
oh, the
1,
sweet
make it
spot
as
on
cheap
this
as
is so much
possible.
nicer
Yeah.
than the old one.
Yeah. So if you actually have a trainer paddle that has like the face can actually hit the ball, that'd be nice. Check out the Draco January 26th. 162 is a good price point too, especially considering the value you get. But yeah, anything else on the Draco or any other topics?
We do have
Oh
topic.
my gosh, hold on. Just kidding. We're going to Tickle Time. This is my fault because I went out of order on the show notes. That's what happens when I go off script, which never goes well. So David, Tickle Time. What's sponsored by Tip Toppers? What's going on with Tip Toppers right now? It looks like you have a new one up there.
Yeah, this is the yellow bears hiding in a box. But yeah, welcome to Tickle Time. This is a segment where I can talk about whatever I want because Jacob has no power here. And sponsored by Tip Topper. So this is the fun hat where you have attachable figurines. It's got these two slots at the front where you can mix and match them. And as always, we have a discount code TMP25 if you do want to save 25% off on their website at tiptoppers.com. But for today's episode, we're actually going to talk about whether or not one paddle can truly outperform another paddle right now in 2026. And the reason I bring this up is because someone left a comment on my video on the 6-0 Coral, and they said, based on some numbers they saw in a database, the FC Plus seemed to outperform the Coral in all aspects. And that guy, I was just starting to think, like, what makes you think that the FC Plus is outperforming the Coral? Like, are you looking at power and pop, or are you looking at the twist weight? Because if you're looking at those numbers, I can see why they're higher. So I'm assuming if you're talking about the J2 FC Plus, you're talking about the one with the shorter handle. So that shape is going to have that higher twist weight because handle is shorter and there's that wider taper at the bottom. But then there is a downside because now you don't have as much space to do a two-handed backhand. Flicks are harder to do because the balance is shifted down, and then the whole shape is actually just different from the Coral. And so, that's one thing about the twist weight. And then for the power and pop, yes, I would say like having hit both of them side by side, the FC Plus hits a bit harder, a bit less dwell time and feel like the ball pops off faster. But is that necessarily a good thing? Because then the corals got more control, so it's kind of like the opposite. So I don't know, Jacob, do you think the FC Plus is outperforming the coral based on like what you see in the numbers?
So that's a great question, and I also am not thrilled when I see people comment on my video and just be like, I saw X paddle and X reviewer's database, and it says that this paddle is better than the paddle you're reviewing. So why would I ever get this paddle? And I say, thank you for the comment. The numbers in the database have, that's great that this person has that number, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. And also, if we're just judging it, like based on power and pop numbers, so many variables go into those numbers as someone that does them. It's a good way to start looking at things, but it's just when people are testing for power and pop, probably not everyone's testing exactly the same one. Two, it's hard to account for all the different conditions that can go into those testing. And I don't think there's a way to have the conditions be the same every time, because the person testing it isn't going to be performing the same every time. Whether you could have the same temperature, the same court, the same balls, but you're not going to be able to control how that person feels that day, how their muscles are feeling. So it's great that, if their numbers are different and they're better for one paddle than the other, that only tells part of the story. It doesn't necessarily mean that the paddle's more powerful. Like, I'm sure I could go through my numbers and be like, oh yeah, I tested this paddle's more powerful than the other, but I don't agree with that. Like, I might not agree with it. It's just what the radar gun said. As someone that does it, I would say, don't take that at 100% for your decision. And like you're saying, handle length isn't taken into account if you're just looking at twist weight, swing weight, power, and pop. So maybe a different handle length is going to be different for you. Obviously, sweet spot size is very subjective. So twist weight does not tell the whole story there. But yeah, I really am. I used to be frustrated when people ask me that question. Now I don't know what the perfect response is, because I don't know what answer you're looking for when you comment like, this paddle is better than this paddle, so why are you even talking about this? I'm like, what do you want the answer to be? Like, I don't know. I think that if you already made up your mind, just go buy the paddle. You already made up your mind. Why come comment? It doesn't make sense. If you're interested in a discussion of our thoughts on the paddle, I'm happy to have that. I think people take things too black and white on these paddles. Like, for different people, different things are going to be true.
Yeah.
You also have to account for, one person might have got the paddle at the high end of the weight range. One person might have got the paddle at the low weight end of the weight range, and they might have not weighted the paddle up. Their experience of the paddle could be a lot less power, a lot smaller of a sweet spot size, and the person, a 0.4 ounce difference. And they got, they're saying it has more power and is a bigger sweet spot size. People don't take that weight into account often. And the weight can range by like 0.4,
Yeah,
0.5 ounces, right? So that's a huge difference. And people, I don't really hear people talk about that often, but that's a huge factor. And that could be the reason for different numbers, for different opinions. That could be a huge factor. So I guess my short answer for someone that says numbers make you know the difference between the paddle, I would say no. They can help point you in directions, but you can't just take two paddles, show the numbers, and be like, oh, this paddle's better than the other. I don't think you can do that. I mean, you could say that, but I don't think it's true.
Yeah. Especially like, I guess by that logic, like if you're just looking at those three numbers, Boomstick's probably the one that comes out at the top, but I don't think you could really recommend the Boomstick to like 99% of the population out there. Like, there's a lot of people that are going to try it and be like, yeah, this isn't for me. And I think that's one thing that these numbers don't say is like, okay, if I hit this paddle, like what's the feel like for me? Like how am I want to actually play with this paddle versus like you might use a paddle that has a lower twist weight, or you might need one that has less power or a more muted feel. And that's just some things that numbers can't tell. So it's tough to say, like, especially now in 2026, you can't really use these numbers because a lot of these paddles are already forgiving. Like the sweet spots have gotten way better than they were in like 2023 and before. I think back then, yes, I would say that some paddles were outperforming other ones, like say Yola Hyperion. Like that one had the edge one, had a better sweet spot, and then overall its performance I would say is much better than a Gearbox CX14E. Like
Hmm.
that paddle was like really soft, terrible sweet spot, and just overall like I would say the Yola Hyperion outperformed it in all aspects. But now in 2026, technology has advanced where these sweet spots are getting more similar, performance is getting really similar, and I think that it's gotten to the point where performance is really like close for a lot of these paddles, and it ultimately boils down to what your feel is and what your preference is. So I wouldn't say like any paddle is better than another right now. I can say some are more durable, some may have like more power, but I wouldn't say that performance is better because once power goes up, control goes down, and you may want a control paddle. So yeah, it's just something that I saw in one of my comments and I didn't respond to it, but I was like, this is something I should talk about for people that do look at these numbers. It's something for them to think about.
I was gonna ask how you respond to those comments,
I
but it
just didn't
sounds like you
respond.
did.
There
I
was
was
a
like, please tell.
discussion that happened on that thread that I just kind of took a look at, and I was like, oh, these guys are
I was
having
like,
fun.
please tell me if we could copy and paste what you just said the past minute into the message. Yeah, there's not really a great way to answer because I feel like unless you agree with them, they're probably not. They're just going to be like mad about what you said. You're like, no, and that's not always the case, but sometimes I feel like there's questions, and I'm like, I just the way they wrote the question, I know that if I don't like agree with them or tell them that I've changed my mind, then they're not going to be happy. And I'm like, well, what do you want? What do you want from me? Like,
Yeah.
you want me to just tell you what you want to hear, even if it's not what I believe or it's true? You want me to lie to you? You want me to tell you the truth? I don't know. I don't know what they want. So
Yeah. And it's
I
something
usually
about the
just say,
reviewer community is like we can all
yeah,
show you the numbers and they can all average out. And I think that's data about the paddle. But the reason there's so many of us is that we all have different opinions on like our recommendations and how we perceive things and whether or not you connect with our opinions or different play styles. There's so many people you can like talk to and gather information about. So you can't really rely on the numbers, but we're trying to help the way we can by giving you guys our opinions.
yeah. I mean, and that makes me think of probably the most common question that any reviewer gets. They're like, which paddle's better, this one or this one?
Like, it
But they don't give
depends.
you
Yeah.
any
It
background of
depends.
what they want. They're just like, which one's better? I'm like, come on. Like, what? If that was as simple as it would, then we would just only be talking about one paddle all the
Yeah.
time. Be like, oh, this is the best paddle. No other paddles matter. But yeah, so but I'm sure someone's gonna ask that in the comments now, like which paddle is better. I mean, I think that for most of the paddles coming out today, they have a home, right? Most of them have a home.
Yeah.
But that was a good tickle time. That was a good tickle time. I have to clip that one for you so you can
All
like
right.
post. That'd be good. You clip that, and I could post a link to the short, and you can post a link to the short every time someone asks which paddle's better, and it'll just be like, oh, that's the clip. Go watch that.
Yeah, then they'll just see Gearbox CX14E. Maybe it's that one.
That, or I'm gonna post a link to Rick Roll them. Bring that back.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that.
All the answers are right here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that one time. I'm a Rick Roll the next person that asks me which paddle's better, or ask me a question that I don't want to answer. Oh man. Anything else on that subject?
Nope, that's all I had for Tickle Time.
All right, that was a good one. Anything else coming out this week that you want to hype up?
Yeah, I think you mentioned this earlier when we were chatting before the show, but I did go to a 4-5 plus meetup with a control paddle. I originally signed up for a money ball because I was like, let's see if I can do a 4-5 money ball with a control paddle. I was gonna bring a course shapeshifter, nothing else in the bag. Not enough people signed up, it gets canceled. So did the next best thing I could find because there was like no tournaments that I could sign up for other than the one I had already signed up for that was canceled. So yeah, I'll have like a video on that and just like how I did for like a few games that I was using the shapeshifter. But yeah, that's probably the
That'll
next
be a
video I'll be
fun
working
one.
on.
Maybe I'll have to play a tournament with a control paddle then.
Yeah,
Just
you
to
just gotta
if
make
you did.
sure.
We'll
Sorry, go
see
ahead.
how you did in it first. We'll see how you. We'll see how you did
This
first.
paddle was old. I hadn't hit it in like months. There was
Oh,
no grit on
jeez,
it, and I was
it's
like,
not sounding
there
good.
were some dead spots that like even my
Oh
partner was like,
no,
"What's wrong with that thing?" I was like, "This is old, right? This is an old paddle."
no. But stay tuned if he makes a comeback in the video. He might make a big comeback. I don't think I'll have anything else out this week. Definitely not going to have the Selkirk tournament video updated. It just takes a long time. I don't even know. I should track how many hours it takes me this time. It took me a long time. And I don't think there's any reviews that I'll be having out. I know that I think we should be getting the full set of the Honolulu CRs, but that's not going to be a video for anytime soon, because I don't know when those are coming. And
I actually just checked before I got on. I think they were dropped off January 9th in Honolulu, so I don't know what the ETA beyond that is.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's gonna be it might not even be this week then.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about the Draco. We'll probably talk about the Speedup and the Friday Fever 102. I think there's some other stuff maybe that we might talk about coming in the mail. We'll see. I'm not sure, but that gives us a good start. If there's anything else you want compared, let us know. It could be a weekly segment where we do like a comparison of the week.
Okay.
If someone else does that already, sorry if I stole that idea. I don't think anyone does, but a comparison of the week. It's not like it's a segment you can steal. Everyone compares paddles, so yeah. Don't come after me, anyone. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, anything else, David?
No, I'm good.
All right, everyone, have a great week. Go play some pickleball.